I'm Rabbi Rob Kvidt from the Jewish community of Kauai. My talk today in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day is on praying with your feet. When Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel marched with Martin Luther King Jr. almost 60 years ago, he said he prayed with his feet. This was similar to what Black social reformer Frederick Douglass once said, "I prayed for 20 years but received no answer until I prayed with my legs." So it was really taking that first step that made the difference. We see that with Martin Luther King Jr. It was his desire that we each examine our role in the fight for civil liberties, for justice, and for equality. Not just be simply allies in the fight, but instead standing up, listening more, doing the work of improving the lives of any marginalized community by taking action. It's really similar to a concept we have in Judaism that goes all the way back to the year 10 in the Common Era, and that is called Tikkun Olam, which means to fix and to repair the world. One way we do that is through civil disobedience, nonviolent civil disobedience, and that's when people, just like us, we listen to the voice of conscience rather than to the law of the state or the voice of someone in power, which I think today has more relevance than ever. Civil disobedience has brought about change throughout history. Think about Gandhi, what he did in a nonviolent way, which was to free India from British rule with his Salt March in 1930. Then in 1955, there was the Montgomery bus boycott. Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the bus to a white man. She was later arrested and fined. The Black community rallied behind her. They refused to ride buses for 381 days until the system was integrated. Something else very special came from this boycott, and that was the emergence of Martin Luther King Jr. as the leader of the civil rights movement. And of course, it was his famous march on Washington in 1963 with thousands of people that brought the Civil Rights Act of 1964 into being. We know that change, it doesn't happen overnight, but when individuals like Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. or thousands of people just like us, when we all band together, we have the power to make a difference. And we are still marching and fighting for injustices. But it comes down to this. We do not change the world by who we are, we change it by the action that we take. So I say pray with everything you have, everything it takes to make the world a better place to be. Think about the many gifts you have and share them with everyone. And while I think that supporting a cause financially is always important, actually showing up in person is probably one of the greatest ways we can all take a stand. The same thing happens when we demonstrate or write a letter of support. We put our face and our name to a cause that we really believe in. Even when we know our stance may not always be popular, we do it because of who we are. I'm going to close with 3 words from Torah taken from Deuteronomy. Those words are tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. And that stands for justice, justice you shall pursue. It's interesting that the word tzedek or justice is repeated twice in this verse, but one way to interpret that repetition is to do the right thing and to pursue it. It may not always be easy, but this repetition of the word justice emphasizes its importance in all of our dealings. We are commanded to follow justice even if we may not always succeed. So I say to you now, be safe, be well, take action, and keep fighting for causes that you believe in honor of this day, this Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Make this world a better place to be. Tikkun Olam. Shalom.
Aloha, I'm Reverend Rita from the Center for Spiritual Living Kauai.
And I am Reverend Patrick, the co-spiritual